Hey everyone, welcome to Bleacher Talk. I'm Claudia Collins alongside Jordan Spurgeon. It's another week of Arizona high school football, and it has been so far so fun and so interesting. I feel like you never know what we're going to get between whether, monsoons, haboobs, even though monsoon season is over, and interesting matchups. It's just, yeah, you never know what you're going to get. Coop, I know you feel the same way. We've got Bruce Cooper here for quick picks, always a fun time. And always an especially fun time for Bruce because he's always in the lead. Always, always, always. So he is 11-4. He was 2-1 last week, though. That's where Spurge and I had some redemption because we were both 3-0 with our picks. That puts Spurge at 10-5 and me at 8-7. So I'm making that slow climb back like I was planning to. This is all a part of the plan. That's what I'd like to say. Spurge was kind enough. I feel like you've got like this, we've got a good relationship here. I know when he's messing with me and stuff, but he sent our standings and he goes, "You're finally above 500." And I'm like, kind of a dig, but I'm okay with it.
I'm happy for you. Everyone's above 500. We like to see that.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely good. But I think we could go ahead and get into our three matchups for this week. The first one I've got to say, is probably the game that everyone's got circled for this week. It's Liberty at Basha. Going to be a really interesting matchup. Spurge, I'll let you take this one first.
I got to go first on this one. Well, last year, I remember come playoff time for the Open Division, we were at Liberty High School, and all three of us picked Basha. And Liberty proved us wrong. They didn't just barely win that game. They dominated pretty much the entire game. First quarter, I remember, I think I showed up in the second quarter, but first quarter I had seen on Twitter it was a close game. And then by the time I got there, Liberty just absolutely dominated Basha. But new year, new teams, a lot of the same players on both sides of the ball for both squads. Basha this year has just been blowing everybody out of the water. A lot of the teams they have faced are going to be playoff teams, but not teams competing for an open division spot, where Liberty has played against one of the top teams in Colorado in Valor Christian and beat the brakes off them 50-7. They beat Saguaro already. They beat down Pinnacle. They are just on a mission right now. So I really, going into this as I was talking, I have no clue which way I would lean.
Same.
Basha coming off an undefeated season. I don't think it's going to continue this year, though. I just think Liberty right now is the more physical team. I think we're going to see them again in the playoffs, but give me Liberty and Colin Thomas's team over Basha. Hard fought this time. I'm going to say 28-27. It comes down to the end of the game.
28-27. Man, that's a game that I would want to be at. Yeah, this is tough. I'm going to go second. I think it's fair because I also don't know where I'm going to stand. Something tells me Bruce has confidence. So I'm just going to play it fair and go right here. I want to echo literally everything that you said, Spurge. The schedules have been really, really competitive for both teams. Unfortunately, it makes it hard to choose between the two. I know last week I raved about Basha's roster. I stand by that. Like, they really are a loaded team, top to bottom. For me, it was coming back to we've all underestimated Liberty before in this matchup. That was, I'm sad that you said it first. I was hoping I was the only one that remembered it was that. But yeah, underestimated Liberty before. I think that they've had a really, really competitive season so far, probably more so than Basha. But I do think that both of these teams are open division teams, no doubt. There's no question of that. I think we're all in agreement. This year, I'm curious to see, are we all picking Liberty? Because that's what I'm going to do. And I also want to make it close, maybe not a point, but we'll go 35-30 Liberty. Bruce, what do you think?
Hey, sounds good. I mean, you guys are hitting all the key points. I mean, Spurge, absolutely right. I mean, Basha completed the first undefeated regular season in school history last year, only to go into the open division quarters and get slaughtered by Liberty. And look, I agree with you, Claudia. Basha roster is just loaded, top to bottom. I mean, you talk about skill set and talent. I mean, and speed. They have it all. But God, just watching this Liberty team play defensively, I mean, I think that'll be the difference. You know, defense travels. They're on the road going to Basha, and no matter how you slice it, teams just aren't getting the ball in the end zone on a regular basis against Liberty. I mean, a very talented Saguaro team tallied only 17 points against Liberty. I know Nazi Bruzon playing some pretty good quarterbacks. So I'm actually going to agree with every one of you. I'm going to take Liberty, and it's going to have to be one of those low-scoring games, 21-17.
Wow, a total flip from last year. I absolutely love it. But yeah, I think without question, we can all say confidently that this is a tough one to pick. It's really interesting, added commentary here, but it's really interesting to see. You look at Basha's roster and you look at Liberty's. I mean, Michael Gardner, that's like the name that sticks out. But other than that, it's interesting that this can be as competitive as it is when you look at it from a recruiting standpoint, because Bash is the team getting the recruits. So it's interesting to look at. But if we're talking recruits, we also got to talk about Desert Edge at Saguaro. Also, two teams that are highly recruited. I mean, there's so many D1 players on honestly both teams. Saguaro, though, they have the open division hanging by a thread right now. And, obviously there's changes from last year. We can always expect, you can't necessarily anticipate back-to-back open division state championships, but I wouldn't have expected this. I am surprised at where Saguaro is standing right now. I feel like both teams are solid and they just haven't met expectations yet. And I say that for Desert Edge and Saguaro because they both have so much potential. And another top to bottom loaded rosters, lots of talented transfers over at Desert Edge, many from out of state that we've heard a lot about. I got to see Desert Edge last week against Highland, and I don't know. I can't put my finger on what Desert Edge isn't doing right, but it was 3-0 when I left that game. So not a very competitive game in that sense. But I did see potential against Highland. This is another game where I wasn't really sure where I was going with this. Based on what I've seen, I still think Saguaro looks like the better team. And I think their schedule has been more difficult than Desert Edge's. And I think for that purpose, maybe Saguaro can hang on for another week to that open division potential. So I think I'm going to go Saguaro, but low scoring game. I'm going to go, well, maybe not super low, 20-17. Bruce.
Well, you talked about strength of schedule. Look, calpreps.com has the Saguaro SaberCats with the seventh toughest schedule in the nation. Not in Arizona, in the nation. So there's no question Saguaro's played a very, very tough schedule. I mean, a loss to a Virgin Catholic team in New Jersey. Then we saw here locally Chandler, and last week Liberty. And again, those two are open division teams in Liberty and Chandler. And look, I don't care that Saguaro has 3 losses, and people may want to taint them and say they don't deserve. No, they deserve open division. I don't see them losing another game. They have been served a very, very tough schedule. They played it very tough, and I don't see them losing again. So give me Saguaro as they start to put things together. 35, Desert Edge 14.
Spurge, is this going to be unanimous too? We can't keep doing this every week.
I think it is going to be. You guys basically summed it up, but Saguaro's back is against the wall. They can't afford another loss, and it's no give me that they're going to win out. Last year, they lost to Chaparral in the regular season. They still have them on that schedule. But we are going to see just how good or bad or accurate the computer generation system is for the open division, because they say strength of schedule plays an important role, but with 3 losses, we haven't seen many teams sneak in before. But as you mentioned, Coop, they have the 7th toughest schedule in the nation. Let's see if that computer takes into account national rankings over just state rankings, because I think that could be an important factor that I'm not sure what it does, but they are worthy. I think if they were to play in 6A, they would run the table, and it would not be a very competitive 6A playoff. I just think they're far and above every team. Desert Edge, another team that, even a loss to Saguaro, if they were to win out, they could sneak into the open division. It's a very loaded roster. They got a great young quarterback. The Carters are coaching their tails off over there. So I really like what they've built, but I think Saguaro now They've gotten through the tough part of the schedule. I think the guys have grown because of it. It's not going to be a very competitive game. Give me Saguaro 42. Give me Desert Edge 20.
Okay. All right. A little different on the scoring, though. I'll take that. That makes things interesting. Our last matchup is Higley at Horizon. Spurge, I know you just talked, but Horizon was a school that we've said time and time again you stood by last year. Where do you stand this year?
Yeah, I'm not quite seeing it. I still believe in Coach Andy Litton over there, and I know he's going to kind of turn that program around. I think they have a lot of young guys coming up through the ranks, and so I think in the future they can potentially get back to being one of the better teams in 5A competing for a title, but they're just not there right now. And Higley, on the other hand, they also have a lot of young guys, but they already all have varsity experience from last year. They started a lot of really young guys, including Jamar Malone, their quarterback, who's really tearing it up. I just think right now Higley is one of those teams that can sneak up and win a lot of games come playoff time and make a deep playoff run. I just think they're better right now than Horizon. So give me Higley 27-13.
All right, Bruce. I'm curious to see where things go.
Okay, well, look, Jordan has the right team winning, but this is going to be a blowout. This is not going to even be close. I mean, Higley, they scored 35 points in a 35-0 win over Casa Grande last week. That's the first time they have failed to score 49 or more in any of their games this year. At 4-0, Eddie Zuby has this team cranking offensively. Obviously, they're going to start hitting some of their region games, get a little tougher for them. But for right now, Horizon, they don't stand a chance on the same field with Higley. Give me Higley 56, Horizon 20.
This is going to make this week interesting. Like, you're just going to have the lead, Bruce, if things go this way, because first of all, you guys have said a lot of what I was going to say. Higley is the team to win. They have played a lot of formerly 4A teams. So like, I kind of want to factor that in a little bit. Horizon has had a tougher schedule, in my opinion. They've played and lost to Notre Dame Prep, Hamilton, Pinnacle. I mean, those are all some of the best teams in the state. So from a schedule standpoint, they've had it a harder time. And it's funny because in these previous matchups, we've said, okay, well, Saguaro's had a tougher schedule. That's going to pay off. Like, that's not the difference maker here. It feels like, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of talented players on Higley that I'm hearing about. Haven't seen Higley play yet this year. So I'm going off of word of mouth and what I'm hearing. I know they've got a really talented wide receiver over there. Carter Hancock has been brought up to me more than a few times. His last game, he had 11 catches for 232 yards and 3 touchdowns. So that's where that high scoring is coming from, it sounds like. I'm also going to say, oh man, I hate using the word blowout, but a little bit. It's going to be high scoring. Hey, you said 49 or more in every game except last week. Let's go 50-20 Higley. But Bruce, love having you on as always. Such great insight. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you guys. Look forward to next week.
Yeah, thank you, Coop, for joining us, and stick with us because when we come right back on Bleacher Talk, we'll be over at Trevor G. Brown. They're off to a great start once again this season. Welcome back to Bleacher Talk. I'm Jordan Spurgeon alongside Claudia Collins. We're here at Trevor G. Brown High School, and Coach Ragle, you guys are off to a 5-0 start. Really remarkable start to the season. I mean, what do you want to credit most just to the beginning of this season for you guys so far?
Our kids' commitment this offseason, I think, was a big thing. Last year it was, it's the first time we've seen 40 to 50 kids. Now it was 50 to 60 kids from January all the way through summer ball. And, our kids really meshed, and we have a lot of returners. I think right now we have 25 seniors, and these are the same guys that we took over during that COVID year. So it's kind of been, I credit kind of just all the hard work they've put in up to get us to this point.
This program really has been on like an uphill climb over the last few years. Now with a 5-0 start, I mean, what do you think, you would attribute most of that to? Is it the bond of the team? Is it, coaching staff? I mean, what has really changed and transpired over the last few years to kind of get you guys in this position?
It's always about our kids. I mean, our kids they're friends. They get along. I mean, they fight like brothers at times. I mean, they argue. But I think the biggest thing is just how the kids kind of bought into what we were selling. And, my coaching staff is amazing. They really have helped me this is what our program is about. It's about the person, not the football player. And, we can be really hard on our kids, but they know at the end of the day we love them as people. And I think once you take care of the person first, that football stuff and everything else kind of takes care of itself. So, I mean, we just really lucked out with the group of kids that we have. They're amazing.
5-0 star coming off one of the best seasons you guys had in program history last year, at least in recent memory. What does it mean to just be in the situation where you guys are where you are right now?
It's amazing to be here. I just think like we all worked hard just to get here, and it's just like a testimony to what we've been doing, pretty much. Yeah.
What do you feel is the biggest difference between your team this year than last year? Because there is a difference with this start so far. So what does it come down to?
Really just our defense. Our defense comes in clutch all the time, and we just have more returners on defense, really. Our offense is still good. We just sophomore Manny, he took us to 5-0, and just great start with him.
You guys seem like you have a really strong bond as a team. I mean, playing catch on the sidelines, hanging out, it seems like you guys are all close. What do you attribute that to? Are you guys hanging out outside of football?
Yeah, that too, but really we just been growing up together, playing youth against each other. We just grew up in the same neighborhood, and we all just came to the same school.
What's this coaching staff like with you guys? Because they definitely seem like they're allowing you to have a good time, but they're tough on you as well, especially in practice. I think he mentioned today you only had to do up downs once, which was progress maybe. Yeah. But what's it like just having them push you and kind of be there for you?
I feel like this is a really good coaching staff because they push you to your limits, and they make sure that you have everything right, and then they're hard on you, but they're also really nice, and they have you have that lenient, they're lenient with us to be able to do things that we want to do at the same time. So,
is there anything in particular that anyone on the coaching staff has maybe done for you guys personally that's really helped you out, whether it's football related or not?
I know Coach Ragle, he had when we had the awards for the PXU, he drove me and CJ over to the Central. Was it Central? Yeah, he drove us over to Central. So that was pretty nice of him.
What is it about this Thursday night game that's different? Because it sounds like this feels like the game that y'all need to break through to really set the tone for who you are this year.
Well, I think there's a couple. It's our second region game already. We're going into fall break, which is, that midpoint of the fall semester. And Westwood's on a hot streak. We knew they were going to be very talented. It was a game I had circled. I mean, Coach Large, with his background at Higley and that offense, we knew they were going to be dynamic. But yeah, like I said, after this week, the first playoff rankings come out. We can be 6-0 going into that first. We're gonna make some people upset because they're gonna be like, Trevor Brown's not supposed to be there, and I'm okay with that because they can say, oh, we didn't play nobody, which I think is crap and disrespectful to the other teams that we've lined up against. We're playing who's in front of us, and we have to execute. But we got to control what we can control, and just to be able to go 6-0 into fall break, going into that bye week will be huge.
And just seeing the growth over the last few years and just seeing the way they play, what do you think football means to all these guys that are out here? Because obviously before it seems like a Trevor G. Brown, it just wasn't maybe the same level of commitment as it is now. But now it seems like they're all very bought in on football for whatever it adds to their life.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think there's a way you have to do things. Football is not a part-time commitment. I think the biggest thing is as a coaching staff, we knew when we took over that we had to be accommodating to the different situations that come up here. And, our biggest thing is, you got to communicate. I get that life happens. And, I think our biggest thing is just our kids kind of bought into here is a safe place. There's a good environment where they're cared about and they can have fun. And, we're hopefully they're really starting to garner on the life skills we're teaching them because, I really want high school football to be a great memory, but not the best memory they have in life. The skills that they're learning from here, I want them to take it out and be successful way after high school.
And that comes off the field, too. I heard you after practice talking about how the guys are able to come into your classroom at lunch and watch movies and stuff. Is that something that you've instilled? Did I catch that right?
Yeah. Well, tomorrow we have early release on game day, so I don't want them taken off. But every day I have people in my classroom during my lunchtime, which is fine. We watch YouTube, we've watched film, like we watch different stuff, but it's just we can hang out. I guess that's the thing is like I really enjoy the fact that I can laugh and joke with my kids. I can yell at them on the field and they can be upset about it for that too. But the moment we walk out here, it's a relationship. Like we have good communication. We laugh all the time together, and you know, I think my kids are hilarious. My kids make me laugh all the time. And my wife hates when I try to talk like them because I can't translate their lingo. So, you know, it's a good dynamic. When it's football time, it's football time. But we have that time to laugh and goof around. And for me, I really enjoy that because being just the heavy hand all the time would be exhausting. So, I mean, like, I'm grateful for my kids.
That kind of leads us, I think, to our next set of questions. We're going to play a little trivia. See what your knowledge looks like of your own football program. So it'll be a little bit of a competition between the two of you. So CJ versus Ralph. Excited to see how it turns out. I'll give you guys both a guess, but the first question is, when was the last time y'all started 5-0?
Never. It's the first time.
Never, yeah. It's never. We've never been 5-0.
1995, there was an undefeated season.
Whoa! You know what's crazy? It's because Coach had told us we've never been 5-0 before.
I don't know. Maybe our research serves us wrong. We'll have to maybe test Coach on it and see. We'll have to see. All right, Spurge, what you got?
When was the last time that Trevor Brown made it into the postseason?
I don't know that one.
Was it 1883?
18. The school's built in like 1970.
1983? Wasn't it like 1983?
1883. That's a
say
good
like
show.
1990, something like that, around there.
It is around 1990 something.
Well, I'm off my hella.
I'll give you a hint.
It's in the 2000s.
2010?
Close.
Ah, damn.
13?
2009.
Whoa.
2009.
All right, who coached the Bruins for 3 years before your current coach?
You know what? Coach just told us about this.
Damn,
He told us about this not that long ago.
I know who it is, but I don't know his name because I met him before I came here. When I was playing youth, he wanted me.
Oh, you met him?
Yeah, I met him.
That's kind of a dig right there. I don't remember his name.
It's been a while.
Jay-Z are his initials.
Jay-Z.
Not like the rapper.
I was thinking a rapper.
Spelled a little differently.
I don't think I'll know.
I can't get it.
All right, when is the next undefeated season for Trevor G. Brown?
This season.
Hopefully this season.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Bleacher Talk. I'm Claudia Collins alongside Jordan Spurgeon, and we've got our social spotlight segment now. We always love looking back on Friday nights or Thursday nights in this case as well, and seeing all of the action in the stands for high school football, on the field, whatever it might be, and just kind of giving it a little shout out. So I guess I'll start with the very first one. It was at the Ahwatukee Bowl on Thursday night last week, which if you don't know about the Ahwatukee Bowl, it is like the ultimate community rivalry, I guess, alongside the battle for Arizona Avenue. But this really is like a neighborhood rivalry, and you can see it. There is so much competition, not just on the field, but with the fans and the stands, because Spurge, I know I sent this to you as well. I know it's my own tweet. Sorry, I guess I'm tooting my own horn here. It all is Sports 360 AZ theme today. But they were doing push-ups for every touchdown. Now, this was a high-scoring game. They started to have to take turns doing the push-ups, and they were just like motivating these guys and girls to get through it. All right, the real question is, Spurge, we've seen you do some push-ups for challenges in the past. You think you could have done 63?
Don't know if I would have had 63, especially because you already would have done 7, 14, 20,
Yes.
20, especially if you're the same person. But
They started taking turns in like the 40s.
okay, which is fair. I think once you get to that 20, 30 range, it's really hard. So I give them props. I always love seeing the push-ups out there.
I mean,
Maybe
I could do
slapping
it.
ones, but it's cool.
I
I think you
could.
got to do them next time. Next time you see a team scoring in the 60s, I think you need to volunteer for like half of them.
I would do 5. I think 5 is fine. Yeah. Anyways, we don't need to get into my physical abilities right now because 5 is probably my limit. But Spurge, what do you have? I know we're shouting out another Sport 360 AZ teammate.
Yeah, speaking on that, Elliot Gabai, normally doing our social spotlights, but he's spending time with family this week. But last week, ALA Queen Creek ALA Gilbert North, two of the most exciting fan bases in the entire state. You got to do a fans in the stands video, and they were hyped. I know ALA Queen Creek ended up running away with the game, which were some of the top comments like, yeah, cool, but you see the Patriots won by like however much they won by. Like those were the top comments, but Eliab Goodbye having a lot of fun. I really love the beginning. This is fans in the stands, and he just ducks under and then runs away. I think that's really cool while the fans go
I
crazy.
love it.
So I loved it. That was awesome. So shout out Eliab for doing that.
And now shout out to our very own Brad Sesmat, the big guy who's out at ASU football practice and catching all of the potential recruits on the sidelines. We were hearing whispers that there's going to be a lot of players from Chandler, Hamilton, Red Mountain, etc. out at ASU football practice. And you know what? I love to see it. Because since I've moved into this recruiting space and covering recruiting, I'm constantly hearing, why isn't ASU recruiting in our own backyard? Why aren't they coming out to games? Sean Aguano has wasted this much time. Zero time.
Zero.
He was immediately hitting the sidelines, and it's impressive. Honestly, I'm not going to say that he is supposed to he should have the job or that he's the guy for the job. What I will say is he made a promise to recruit in state, and he has kept it. And it's honestly awesome to see.
And you could feel the energy from all the guys. I mean, just him being a man of his word and getting after it. It's something that I know you and I are still new-ish to the high school scene, being here the last 2 years, but it's been an ongoing problem from all the conversations we've had with people. So really cool seeing him live up to his world and seeing guys. I don't know if they had school today and they got to skip school because they're also touring campus, or if it's fall break. I think it might be. So they got to spend, some of their fall break out on campus all day at ASU. That's really, really cool. But 60 plus guys being there with their coaches and all that, I think that's really, really impressive. And not sure we've seen that number at an ASU practice in a really long time. So love to see.
I can confidently say I don't think so. Yeah, not from what I've heard, because I think we would hear about it. So my guess is no. So yeah, I know we're a high school football show, but ASU backyard, love to see it. And we'll see where things continue to head. But that does it for this edition of Bleacher Talk. We always have so much fun. Be sure to follow us both on Twitter so that you can keep up with everything. I'm Claudia F. Collins on Twitter, and Spurge is at Spurge_. So we would love the follow so we can share everything that we're doing with you. But that does it for today's episode. See you next week.